Hello there, my beautiful pumpkins, and welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the pumpkin patch. If you are new here, hello, my name is Chloe Taylor, and on this channel, I believe we have the most cozy, vibey, autumnal channel across the internet, honestly. And today I'm so excited because we are doing a channeled message from your spirit guides, figuring out what you need to hear today. If you have stumbled across this video, this is what you need to hear from them right now. Now, I will warn you in advance. This is going to be one part sweet, one part sour, okay? We do have a deck that I'm using today that is going to give the tough love, but there is also a lot of cards here that are going to give sweet, soft, gentle energy. So if that sounds like it's up your alley, stick around. So for pile number 1, we have the Nine of Cups from the Pastel Journey Tarot. Allow me to show this to you a little bit closer up. Looks like this. Very cute. My girl Vanessa Samina really did excellent work with this one. All decks that we're using today, of course, will also be listed down below for you. Pile number 2, we have the Nine of Cups from the Lovely Omens Tarot by Kloee, and I can't remember what her last name is, but of course it'll be linked down below as well. And then pile number 3, we have the Nine of Cups from the Tinseltown Tarot, which is by the Vintage Dame on Instagram. This is her deck, and it's absolutely lovely. So whatever card speaks to your vibe, I wanted to go with the Nine of Cups for today's theme because the Nine of Cups is, to me, what is like content in life, and also like a wish fulfilled, having your hopes, dreams, and wishes fulfilled. So that is kind of the themes for today. Please know that you're never going to choose wrong. You are more than welcome to choose more than one. Some people will watch the entire video from start to finish, and then they will decide at the end what was the reading that was for them. So you're never going to choose wrong. You're more than welcome to choose more than one. If you're having trouble even still after seeing these different cards, allow me to use these crystals. I'm just going to use them specifically for helping create selections. So pile number 1, you are going to have this I always forget how to say it, specular hematite. Pile number 2, you are going to have this beautiful, I believe it's an aqua aura quartz. This one I actually got from Bow Life, so of course I'll link that down below for you with a discount code. And then this one, this is an aura quartz, but it's actually from a local seller to me. So fortunately I can't get you an online store for this one, but absolutely stunning. So those crystals are just going to help you select whichever pile you're considering. And I'm going to go ahead and turn up some meditation music for you now if you're still having a little bit of trouble deciding which one is for you. And then we're going to get into it, starting with pile number 1. All right, so pile number 1, if you chose the hematite piece, I just want to show this to you for a moment. I actually got this crystal. I've talked about it in so many of my videos. I got this crystal at a crystal store on Bainbridge Island. So if you're local to Washington, there's a crystal store like right on the main drag. There's like this little shopping area. I can't remember what that street is called, but if you know Bainbridge, you know what I'm talking about. There's a crystal store on that main drag, and I got it there, and it's absolutely stunning. So if you're in the Washington area, head to Bainbridge. It's where I found it. Beautiful, beautiful crystal. but that is what you chose. And I think it's interesting because this crystal, it it's a crystal that is meant to be protective. It's meant to protect your aura, protect your energy. And it's also a very grounding crystal because it's like hematite. If you've never touched hematite before, it's very heavy. Like it's a very dense crystal. So that might be something that you're just needing as you're gravitating towards that. But you have the Nine of Cups that is the pastel journey Nine of Cups. So what I'm seeing is like for you to become content, basically, for you to have wish fulfillment in your life right now. First and foremost, I see that you're having a really hard time accessing gratitude. And before you run away screaming, just hear me out, okay? I'm not saying that you're ungrateful. You're never going to come to Kloee Taylor's channel and hear her be like, well, you're just an ungrateful asshole. I would never say that to you because sometimes it's hard to see the good in life. I mean, we know specifically from like the psychological perspective that when you experience trauma, when you experience things that just really jar you, your life often will seem like it gets smaller and smaller and smaller because you're dealing with possibly anxiety or dealing with, mental things that are keeping you from accessing that gratitude. And trust me when I tell you, I know this because I've been there. And I just wanted to, first and foremost, seeing this card to just express my like deepest empathy towards you that I think that the healing community and the spiritual community and like all that love and light is a very beautiful thing. But I think sometimes we forget that it's not that easy for everybody. Not like most people experience traumas in their life, and not everybody has access to the right tools that will help them unearth that or move through it. And some people, frankly, just are too afraid and they're not ready to move through their traumas or the things that keep them from accessing that gratitude. And I just want you to know that your guides are bringing you to this reading because you're meant to know that you will again feel joy. You will again feel gratitude. You are not going to be this person that just can't see it forever. And like that is not what your life is going to be about. And this is just a time period right now where you're really, really, really in your head about a lot of things. And it's something that this like what I'm seeing is like this like container, okay? I'm seeing that like you are in a container and it's like you're what movie is that from? There's a movie where somebody's like in a glass container and they're like pounding their way out. It's like Thumbelina or something, like some kind of cartoon or oh, you know what? I think it's Tinkerbell. Tinkerbell in that like glass box in Peter Pan. She's like, "Hey, let me out of here." It's like you want to experience more of life, but you feel stuck in the past. You feel stuck in your grief, in your sadness, possibly in your trauma. And your guides are leading you to this reading today because they want you to know that you are currently in the perfect container for healing through this. Even if things don't feel perfect or simple and they're chaotic and you don't know what to do next, you are in this container because eventually when you make it through this stage of your life, literally you're going to be like unfuckwithable. Like people will not be able to mess with your energy. You will become your own protection stone. Like people will not be able to mess with you. Situations will not be able to hurt you the way that they have in the past because you have experienced so much and moved through so much. And I hate that, I never want to be that person that's like, oh, the universe gives the hardest lessons to its greatest warriors. Like, no, 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 no. I am sorry that your life has been hard. I'm sorry that you've had to go through what you've had to go through, and nobody deserves it. You do not deserve it. Just know that when you come out the other side of this, not only are you going to uplift yourself, but anybody that comes into contact with you that has dealt with this, you're going to know exactly what to say to them. Your words are going to heal so many more people because of what you experienced. And Knight of Cups tells me that maybe it's even been hard for you to connect to your dreams too. Like, it's almost to me the energy of like, oh, that's like some airy fairy crap. Like, I can't access my dreams or my manifestations, or that only works for certain privileged people, or that doesn't work for me. I'm with that Knight of Cups. You're being asked to actually get very clear, because here's the thing. Your guides want you to really stop. And like, if you have a moment while you're listening to this reading, if you have a moment, stop and actually pull out a journal, pull out the notes on your phone, and ask yourself, pause the video and ask yourself this question: who are you living your life for? Because if you're worried about how the public is going to perceive you, let's say you have a public persona, or if you're worried about how your friends are going to perceive you, your family's going to perceive you, if you're worried about being, gosh, dare I say, even like politically correct, by whose standard? By whose standard? It's okay for you to seek pleasure for yourself. It's not selfish. Because if you actually seek pleasure for yourself, if you actually seek the life that you desire, it's not selfish, because when you have that, not only do you show other people that it's possible, but you also are able to operate from this place of generosity, of feeling good, of being able to bless, once again, the lives of other people, because you have created something beautiful for yourself. And I feel like you're honestly really afraid that things will work out. You're afraid of actually being happy. It's like you don't know who you will be without all of these concerns, because you've had them for so long. But your guides are telling you that you need to actually allow yourself to dream, even if it feels scary. If you ever sat down and asked yourself what it is that you actually desire out of this life, and then gotten really, really, really afraid of that question, because I promise you it's a lot more common than you think. And especially if you are somebody, now please remember, I'm not a therapist. I know I'm talking to you and you're reading a lot about trauma, and I think it's because your guides are really showing that to me. But I want to just reiterate here that I'm not a therapist. I am not a trained psychologist. I cannot diagnose you, and I cannot, that's not what I'm here for. So just recognize that, take everything I say with that lens, knowing that I am not that person. I am just here picking up on the energy that I feel and that I see and that I hear. But the thing I was trying to say is that when you go through those really harsh experiences in life, sometimes you'll go through a disconnect where it feels like you can't access your dreams anymore. Maybe at one point in time, you felt like you had the world in your hand and you could do anything and be anyone, and you miss being that person. Your guides are telling you that you can become that person again. You don't have to for somebody else, or to be liked by humanity or society or your parents or whoever. You don't have to become someone that they find desirable. You actually can stop and decide what makes you desirable for yourself. Do you know how many times, y'all, that Kloee Taylor, me, has read a self-help book and really taken it in and taken it in and taken it in and read more and more and more and more, and have done 0 embodiment practices, and how messed up that can get you, thinking that you're not this perfect version of yourself, and you think that you can't even access becoming that person because there's just so little information around embodiment. I feel like there's a lot of gatekeeping, specifically in the mental health realm, that really bothers me. But I do think that we in the digital age are coming around to teaching those concepts more freely. But I feel like with this Knight of Cups, though, you are being asked to let your intuition and let your dreams lead the way. So on any given day, you ask yourself, when you're doing certain things, is this getting me closer to where I want to go or farther away? And if there's something, I just recently did this with myself, so this might be helpful for you. I asked myself what I really wanted. If I could have anything, what would I really want? And one of my answers, I'll just give you an example. One of my answers was that I really wanted to work differently with every season. where I currently live in the Pacific Northwest, when it is the dead of winter, we get like 8-hour days, like daylight. We get daylight for about 8 hours a day. There's a certain point in the winter where it's less than that. I want to say it's like 6 point something or 7 hours of daylight. Where in the summer, the sun comes up at like 6 a.m. and it's up until 10 p.m. And we have so much rich, beautiful sunlight and so much time for all the activities. But in the winter, I really do deal with seasonal depression living here. And I asked myself, like, what do I really want and what do I really crave and what do I really need? And my answer was that in the winter, I need to be able to slow down. I need to be able to do less. And instead of just telling myself all the reasons I couldn't do it, I asked myself, what is actually hindering me? And how can I stop doing that? How can I change that belief? And I came up with the answer that really I was holding myself to a ridiculous standard and I could change the rules at any time. And so as a preview for winter 2023 for Kloee Taylor, if you see me uploading one time a week, recognize that that's why, because I deal with seasonal depression and I have to slow down. Otherwise, I will get overwhelmed very easily. So my point to that is, stop and ask yourself, what is hindering you and what steps can you take to change it? Even if it's just a belief, how can you start programming a new belief in? Because this reading is telling me that you have the power and you are actually in the perfect scenario to make changes. The Hanged Man tells me that you're also possibly being forced on pause to consider these things. You're being asked to slow, to still, and to really consider. And the Three of Wands tells me that you are coming into a phase of creating your life more, becoming more of a creative, and not just, I'm not talking about like running an empire unless that's your whole thing, which I fully respect. But I mean, even when it comes to creating your reality, the Three of Wands is somebody that takes action on the things that they want their future to look like. Now, these next four cards, these are the tough love, okay? But they're going to be very practical tips. And these cards do cuss. So if you don't like cussing, my channel is probably not the place for you because I do have the mouth of a sailor. You just don't hear it as much on my channel. You do hear it a lot in my podcast though. But these cards do have curse words and stuff on them. They are a lot more blunt and to the point, but they're going to give you practical answers of what you need to do right now to bring about your deepest desires right now. So, number one, we have get the fuck out of your head. So, the back of this card says, get in your heart, it misses you. So, get out of your head. So, what practices can you start embodying that are going to get you out of your head and into your heart? If that looks like every time you start to get too much into your head, you need to go outside, that needs to become the new practice. Maybe you need to get up from your desk and like take a lap. Maybe you need to eat a little snack. Maybe you need to talk to a friend, call up a friend. Maybe this is the time where you need to work with a coach or a therapist or somebody that can actually help you get out of your head. Because I can see, and this reading kind of already tells me that you do deal with a lot of overthinking. And obviously you can't just turn your brain off. Your brain is always thinking, but I feel like it's the way that you judge the things that you think that is keeping you where you are. So the next thing is make better fucking choices. And it says, if you're pissed at where you are, then stop taking yourself there. So this card is kind of difficult energy because it forces you to take responsibility for your life where you currently are. And I do feel like sometimes life hands us circumstances that are not our fault. We didn't deserve that. We didn't deserve to be put through things that we've been put through. However, your response is always a choice. You can always choose how you decide to respond. And if you keep coming back to the same pattern, the same cycle, the response that you've been giving to the situation is not working. And it's time to create a new response so that you can make a new choice, make a new response. If you keep finding yourself back in the same pattern, you have to start recognizing that it's a pattern and break the cycle. Then we have you do you. So if you have a constant fear again, kind of like I was talking about, of people not liking you. Maybe you're afraid to put yourself out there because you're scared that people won't like you or they won't understand you or they won't respect you. Or maybe you're afraid to tell your family what you're doing, or maybe you're afraid to tell friends what you're doing, or maybe you're afraid to just be who you need to be right now, and you are constantly overfilling your plate with other social engagements when you really need to take like a month to yourself in more solitude and say no to social engagements. I need you to understand that that is normal. It is okay to need to step back. And the right people that respect you, that love you, that want you in their life, they're going to respect you stepping back. And it's time for you right now to really worry about you and stop worrying about how the things that you do look to other people. And then we have rebel, because fuck it. So the back of the card says. So rebel against, honestly, anything that keeps you from feeling like you can move freely. Because you are definitely on the path to freedom, whatever that looks like, be it financial, be it relational, be it just having freedom in every capacity. Let me just tell you something. Nobody got free. Nobody in this lifetime became free by doing everything perfect. Even when you see like movies and stories where somebody's been like captured or something, oftentimes they are like super nice and pleasant, but they are constantly under the surface planning their escape. Like they rebel. There's like, what's that other saying, which even if you're a man or you identify as non-binary, this phrase like just replace with like your correct pronouns. But it's that like saying of um it was, what is it? It's like something about like women. I wish I could remember the perfect phrase that it is, but it says something about like proper women rarely make history, or like basically that people that like don't rebel rarely make history. So like don't be afraid to change the mold, change what you've been doing. Even if like a month ago you started a new routine and you were like, this is it, this is how I'm going to do the thing, and it's not working, it's okay to look at yourself and say, this routine is not working, even though everybody supported me doing it. I got to reformulate and come up with a new one. That is okay. And we now, for a few more gentler cards, those ones are a little rough. We have what is has no bearing on what will be. So if you've been handed a really just like shitty arc in your life right now, recognize that this is not how it's going to be forever. You are just going through a time period. This is not what your life is going to be forever. Your life will change. And what currently your reality looks like, this doesn't mean that it will be that way forever, right? And I mean, this kind of goes both ways. Even if things are really excellent, nothing really does last forever. And that's why it's so important to be in the moment. That's why it's so important to focus on the journey versus the destination. That's why it's so important this is why romanticizing your life actually is a beautiful thing. And no, we can't always romanticize our life every moment of every second of every day. But the more you can step into it and try to embrace it, you honor that present moment. And if things are down, recognize they're going to go back up. And if things are up, recognize that you can honor this time period, but things will eventually change again. And neither of those things are good nor bad. It is just a fact of life. And we also have for you, you are the joy seeker. What little victories can you celebrate? So if you feel like you've been in this like constant vat of just like hardship, or it's been one thing after another, your guides really want you to know that even in this present moment, even if you're that person that has a hard time connecting to gratitude, right? You still can. You still can. Do you have eyes that see? Do you have legs that carry you? Do you have a mouth that speaks? Are you able to taste food? Are you able to hear the birds outside? Do you have access to a phone right now that you're watching this from? I know that when you experience hardship in life, life gets smaller. Trust me, I fucking know. I know. I've been that person. I know what it feels like to deal with those really hard, intense emotions. And that's why I'm here today talking about this stuff with you because I know. I know what it feels like to hurt that much, to where you feel like you can't have gratitude for anything because you just want things to be different so badly. But I'm telling you that when you actually commit to seeing the good, that is when more good actually compiles. And your last two cards, I feel like really are more of like a transition. So we have this card of orphaned, and then we have the card community. And what these tell me is that you're going to need to take some time on your own, completely on your own, maybe even isolated for a while. Don't worry about what everybody else is doing. Worry about what you're doing. Because once you do that, you're actually going to find the community that's here to support you. You're going to find the right people. You're going to end up in the right place, right time. And if you're somebody that wants to build a community, rest assured that this is your sign that you have to do things on your own for a while before that community shows up. It's normal. It happens all the time. And it's okay to do things on your own and to feel alone. Just because you're alone doesn't mean you have to be lonely. In fact, the more you learn how to show up for yourself and be your own best number one friend and confidant, the easier time you actually have connecting with others and deciphering people that are peace givers and peace takers. Because when you really honor and value your own peace, you won't let anybody step over you to disrupt your peace. But you'll also recognize people that bring more peace to your life, and you'll make better connections when you honor yourself first. So that's just like an extra little thing here that is coming out for this reading. And that is what I have for you, pile number one. So thank you so much for tuning in. Please do not forget, when you stand on your own authenticity, you empower everyone around you to do the same. If you would like to support me more, I do just want to let you know that coming up on the 27th, which is this coming weekend, I believe, I'm actually going to be doing a live event in my Patreon where you can come and ask a singular question. I'll be reading cards for patrons. It is at the Cosmic Pumpkin tier. This is actually something that we're moving more into as I've been making changes to the Patreon. I even reformulated the weekly energies to include astrology information now. There's like bibliomancy as well as card reading. I've been doing a lot of restructuring over there because I'm just trying to figure out what is going to work for me in the long term. So definitely check it out. If you want to be part of that event, I would love to have you. And if you'd like to see like the new formula of how we're doing things, I would also love to have you over there. And it's just a really good place to support me as a creator. Like Patreon just really is that. Like I do a lot of free content here on YouTube, but Patreon really is just such an excellent way to support me as a creator. If you feel like this reading in particular really helped you, and like especially the pieces where I was talking about trauma and things like that, I would highly encourage you to also check out my course on KhloeTaylor.com. It's $12 and it's a workbook as well as a couple of audio guides that are there to help you work through, to basically cut through the nonsense and meet your authentic self doing work with yourself. And a lot of people have had a lot of success with this course. I made it accessible on purpose because I really wanted people to know that y'all are your own best healers. So check that out if you're interested. And I also, if you would like to continue to support me, I have my Cashapp, Venmo, PayPal, and my wish list available to you. I do accept tips for my readings or gifts. Never an expectation, but always appreciated. I also have my podcast available to you every single Monday. It's called Divine Authenticity. We talk about literally everything under the sun. I feel like the podcast is where all the context is. It's like where I go to talk about like all the life lessons and things and philosophy, psychology, you name it, we're talking about it. You can also follow me everywhere around the web. I'm at Kloee Taylor on all social medias. And if you would like to book a private reading with me, those, of course, are available to you at KhloeTaylor.com. I don't know when my next restock will be, but I know there's one coming up. They may already be out, so definitely check it out if you're wanting to get a personal reading with me. And that is everything. I love you so much, Pumpkin. Thank you so very much for tuning in, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye. All right, pile number 2. If you chose this Nine of Cups from the Lovely Omens Tarot, let me show this to you a little bit closer so you can just really get a good look at it. It's got these cute little mugs, little coffee mugs. This is going to be your pile. I also want to show you really quick your crystal before we go back. So this is the aqua, I believe it's an aqua aura quartz. I got this from Bow Life, or Vanessa Samina, who is the creator and the CEO of Bow Life. I will definitely link her store down below. If you use code Kloee Taylor, you do get 10% off. This video is not sponsored, but I am always a queen for a deal, and I always want you to get the best. I always want you to get the best deal, okay? So that link will be down there for you. But let's go ahead and see what's going on. So we have the Moon, the Queen of Swords, the Nine of Cups, the Four of Cups, the Three of Wands. This is funny because 3 of your cards are the same as pile number 1's cards. And I have more cards for you too that we'll get to in a little bit. But I do feel like if you were called to pile number 1, you might want to listen to both 1 and 2. Just going to put it out there. But what I'm really getting from your guides with this reading, the message that you really need to hear today is, number 1, I do feel like maybe you've been really in your feelings, or you've been like doing some shit in secret. Okay. I say that because the Moon card is the reason. The Moon is kind of like shady energy, and we'll talk more to it. It doesn't have to mean that you're shady. We're going to go over a few things, but the reason the Moon is like shady energy is because you can't really talk about the Moon card without talking about the Sun, because they kind of go hand in hand. And if you think about it, the sun lights up everything, right? You can do so much in the light of day, but when the moon is out, especially if it's like a new moon, you can't really do anything under the new moon. It's frankly just too dark outside unless you have lights to take outside, which now in the modern age, obviously we have that. But my point is that the moon is showing up because maybe there is something you're doing in secret. I'm really getting the vibe that you are stewing on something though. And I say that because you have this moon card paired with the Queen of Swords. And the Queen of Swords is, if it's not like the master boundary setter card, which I do feel like that is part of it, the Queen of Swords also sometimes is the person that says things that they shouldn't have said. So like maybe you overstepped someone else's boundary, said something you shouldn't have said to someone. Maybe there was like a misuse of your own energy, like you shared somebody's secret when you weren't supposed to. I also want to point out that if this is you, there's no shame in this. Like, I'm not here to shame you. I'm not your mom. I'm not going to do that to you. I think it's honestly interesting that people ever would shame people for stuff like this, because all of us have been this person at one time or another. Like, all of us have the capacity to be somebody that puts their foot in their mouth and says something that they shouldn't have said. All of us have the capacity to gossip when we shouldn't be gossiping. All of us have the capacity to share somebody's secret and then realize later, ah, shit, I shouldn't have said that. Right? Like, it is part of existing as a human. And obviously we don't have to consistently do that and make it our whole personality. But my point is I'm not here to shame you. I'm just stating what I'm getting here. So I do feel like you're stewing on something, and maybe even you got into like an argument with somebody and you said something that just really kind of offset the balance of your life a little bit. I say that because I see the Four of Cups here, and the Four of Cups is, we're unable to feel gratitude. We're unable to see how a person in our life that maybe wreaks a lot of havoc is actually blessing our life. And I want to give you, honestly, a really intimate example from my own life, if you'll allow me this. I know some people hate the stories, but so many of you offset those comments by telling me that you love them. So I'm just going to keep running my channel how I'm running it, and I'm going to keep sharing stories because I feel like sometimes it's the best way for me to get the point across. So something, especially because I feel like your reading really involves people. Okay. I'm getting the vibe that there is people involved in your life and they are keeping you from your peace. But, if you're not familiar with parts work, just like a brief synopsis, parts work is where you go into like a meditative state and you actually talk to the different aspects of yourself. And sometimes you meet parts of yourself that you've never met before. I actually have a whole course or it's like a workbook and a guided audio that goes over this on my website. It's $12 if you want to grab it. I would highly encourage that. But anyways, that's not the point that I'm trying to make. The point that I'm trying to make is that with this parts work, like, gosh, it was like in 2017, I think, 2018. I was going through a guided meditation with a friend, and I actually didn't know that it was parts work at the time, and I don't think they did either. But I was being led through this meditation by a close friend, and all I can remember is there was this part of me that I met in meditation that was like a crying baby that just felt stuck. And the only other part of me that was around this baby this is going to sound crazy if you don't know what I'm talking about. So just bear with me. The story gets interesting. So this was like basically me meeting my infant self. And there was another aspect of me that showed up to the scene in meditation that was like a 1950s version of myself that was like it was basically my mom running around in my head, but looked like me. And she just had very firm boundaries, was not actually helping this screaming child. And me and my mother have a very complex relationship. I've talked about this a lot. My mother is a narcissist, and we've had a very rocky relationship the last several years. We're working on it. We are doing better than we used to. But my point is that I had a version of myself that lives inside of me internally that literally is my mother, that walks around, but she just looks like me and talks like me and kind of has me on her, but she like really mimics a lot of the personality traits that my mom has. And this version of myself, I saw her at this point in time. I felt like I couldn't actually work with her. I wasn't ready. And that's the thing with parts work is sometimes you're not ready to work with certain parts. They might show up, but you are not ready and you don't know how to handle it. And at that point in my life in 2017, I couldn't handle that. It was too much stress. I didn't know how to handle it. I didn't have a high self-concept. I didn't have the ability to be gentle with the different aspects of myself. And now I'm in a much different place. I'm actually really excellent at parts work. I meet a lot of really interesting parts of myself, and it's been such like therapeutic work for me. But my point to bringing all of this up is that this part of myself, the 1950s mom in particular, she actually goes by Taylor. She has her own name. And again, if you've never heard of parts work, I probably sound like a crazy person right now, but it's actually like a real therapeutic practice. Like there are people that are trained in IFS, which is internal family systems, and it is like a therapeutic technique. But this version of myself, I didn't see her ever again. Like I didn't see her for years. She didn't show up anywhere. And if any of y'all listen to my podcast or know me at all, or listen to my like mental health video I put out last year, y'all know that I went through an existential crisis in 2021. I went through like the worst mental health crisis I've ever had. I went through really real trigger warning, but like I went through like a lot of suicidal ideation. It was a horrible time in my life. Worst time in my life that I've ever had. 2021 through about half of 2022 was literally the worst year of my life. But I'm saying all of these things because recently I was doing parts work because I was feeling anxious. And I was like, why am I feeling like this? And I promise this has a point to like reiterating back to your reading. Why am I feeling like this? I'm driving myself crazy. And I like went into my parts work meditation to try to like see if I could get a beat on what was going on. And for like 4 days in a row, I just would have like consistent anxiety. And I was like, all right, I need to get in there and see what's going on. And when you're trained in like doing parts work with yourself or with a trained professional, you can do this and like work with yourself consistently. So I'm pretty good at working with myself. I don't currently feel the need to work with somebody else, but I have. So I go in and sure enough, for the first time since like 2017, 2018, this version of myself steps out. And have you ever just had a moment where like you see in a movie, like the grand finale happens and you are just so like, like it like shocks you because like you didn't expect that ending. This was like my whole body got like chills when I was in meditation because I just did not expect this version of myself to pop out. I like went in there and I was asking like, what the hell is going on? Like I met the part of myself that is fearful, and she was like molting and like was so afraid. And I was like, what the hell is going on? Why am I constantly feeling like this? And this version of me, like I said, she calls herself Taylor, which is funny because that is my middle name. And I was like, Taylor, what is going on? And also, where have you been? I haven't seen you since like literally 2017, 2018. Where have you been? And she basically let me know that not only when I went through my mental health crisis in 2021 did she feel like it was her fault, so she just kind of like ran off and wasn't wanting to talk to me at all, but she's also the person that helps me to manage fear. And the reason I'm bringing this up to you is sometimes when you like see a person in your life that to you, they just bring nothing but chaos and destruction. Okay. I love my mother very much, but like she has been the source of a lot of the things that I have had to work through as an adult. And that has really sucked. And I'm bringing this up because I do feel like there's contention with someone in your life. But to bring this whole thing full circle, the thing that I was not ready to embrace in 2017 and 2018 was that the archetype that is my mom that lives inside of me, even though there are so many things that I did not deserve, and I've had to push myself to like heal things that I should never have had to heal because it never should have been that way. If there's one thing that my mother gave to me, it is the ability to really move past anxious feelings and move forward. And that doesn't mean we never stop and like sit with the anxiety, sit with the fear, sit with those things. But sometimes there does come a point where you are just feeling something for lack of better words here, no fucking reason. And there is no amount of tossing it over in your mind that's going to make it stop. And you need to just start putting one foot in front of the other. And for me, my mother really taught me that. And even though sometimes that's a really destructive behavior, in this one instance, this version of myself, that 1950s mom that is like my motherly archetype that lives inside of me, she is the person that was always with fear inside of myself. And she was always there, like helping fear to kind of gently put steps forward, sometimes forcefully. We have to work on that, right? That's a relationship between those two parts of myself that I have to help them navigate. But she'd been missing for so many months that fear was not getting help. And my point to all of this is sometimes the people in your life that you think are just causing like the worst havoc, sometimes those people are our greatest lessons. They give us something that we don't even realize and can't see in the present moment. If you had told me even 2 years ago that I was going to look at that archetype, look at my own mother and go, oh my gosh, I do like to think that sometimes my mother gave me a lot of things I don't want to become. There are some things that she did give me that actually are blessings. And as much as I sometimes hate to admit that, it's the truth. Now, I'm not saying, again, if you have somebody that is just absolutely bullying you, backing you into a corner, hurting you on a daily basis, that you need to sit and look at that person and be like, you're going to teach me something so wise. But I'm just offering that as an option, what is this relationship? If there's something you said about someone, if somebody said something about you, if there is a contentious emotional relationship, it could even be a relationship with your mom, because the moon often resembles the mother archetype as well, at least in astrology. Though some people say Earth is the mother. I've heard that too, which I also think is a beautiful philosophy. There's something to be garnered here. There's something that you're not seeing. And that's why Spirit was like, you need to share this story. And I know that was really long-winded. Thank you so much to those of you that like really sat here and listened to all of that. I know it was a lot to get to the point, but my point is that sometimes those people that we think literally have no value to us, they do teach us something, even if it's by teaching us somebody we don't want to be. or it's teaching us to be stronger in a certain way, or it's teaching us how to carry on, or in my case, it was teaching me how to carry on even when things feel a certain type of way. And you won't see it until you see it. I can't make you see it. And I don't even think this is every single person in this reading, but there are some of you that this relationship is serving a specific kind of lesson. And there's a reason that you need to pay attention to it or have it in your life. And I promise you, I do not say these things lightly. I am not the one. Kloee Taylor is not the one that's like, yeah, you need to forgive your abusers, blah, 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 blah. No, you do not. But I do feel that when it comes to, even if it's just like a slight or somebody that, again, you feel like didn't ever teach you anything, somebody here needed to hear that. It might not be you. And please remember, like, if this is not giving you confirmation, this is not your reading, because my readings are meant to be used as confirmation. So maybe skip back over to pile number 1 if this is not feeling like it's your vibe. Now, the next 4 cards are going to be some harsher cards. Actually, let's talk a little bit more about this 3 of Wands before we move on, because 4 of Cups, 3 of Wands, 4 of Cups is that, like, not being able to see how good life can be or how good it can get. It's like we're constantly not noticing the goodness around us. And 3 of Wands, this is all about expanding your horizons, expanding your creativity, your horizons, putting work and effort into the desires that you want to create. So I do feel like these are things that you need to move a little bit more forward on. Number 1 is like noticing the goodness that does surround you, even if things have not been great, and asking yourself in what ways you want to expand and start following that. Now, these next 4 cards, like I said, cards are a little bit harsh. They do curse. So if you're not into that, like, I'm sorry. I definitely curse a lot on my channel. It is who I am in my day-to-day life. I am not trying to change for the internet. But these cards are a little harsh. I won't lie to you about it. These were actually a gift from one of y'all. So thank you so much for gifting me this off my wish list. But these cards, I find them to be more funny, but I do feel that I know some people want more gentle energy, and these cards are not that. So just be advised going in. The first card I have for you is fucking apologize. It says, seriously, just do it. So this is interesting to me because I was just telling you that I feel like your reading in particular involves another person or some other people. So did you say something that you shouldn't have said? Are you not hearing what they're saying? Maybe you disrespected somebody's boundaries or somebody disrespected yours. If they disrespected yours, do not feel like you need to apologize ever. But I do feel like there is somebody in your midst that needs an apology, and you've been stewing over this thing. Then we have some good shit is about to happen. It says, don't let your issues fuck it up. So I feel like, especially when it comes to maybe even this person, there is something good that is going to come. And I do feel like that apology might be the thing that kind of like helps your next steps come forward, if that makes sense. So something good is about to happen for you, but you need to get past this like brooding and stewing because it's not helping you get to it any faster. You're giving away your power. It says, you are a badass, act like it. So you're giving away your power. And this situation, again, if you've been stewing, you really are giving away your power, because when we sit and worry and stew over the same thing over and over and over again, it's like you make yourself live through it multiple times, even if the thing that you think is going to happen never happens. So stop giving your power away. Stop giving your attention to that thing and just reach out to that person if you need to. And then you are giving too many fucks. Give 0. So again, I can tell that you care a lot. You care a lot, and that's why you're feeling the way that you're feeling. That's why the situation is happening the way that it is, because you do care. And maybe that person doesn't see that, and that makes you mad. But ultimately, communication is really going to be key, especially now that Mercury is out of the microwave, and it is going to make you feel better. Now we have some gentle cards after those ones. I feel like you got a very specific message with yours, though, with those. Okay, so we have Eliminate distractions. Stop shining light on things that you are not. How can you reclaim your power? So, again, something about power, because you literally just got that card, this one of you're giving your power away. So, how can you get that power back? How can you reassemble and take your power back? And number one, it is going to be eliminating those distractions. So, this thing, if you can't move past this, this is why you need to hash it out with that person, because the only way you're going to move past it is if you say what you need to say and finish it. Then we have for you rest, renew, recharge. What does your body crave and need right now? So this, you came to just like the right person for this card. Me as a person, I feel like where there is a will, there is always a way. And if you need to put things down in order to rest, renew, recharge, it's time to put things down. Okay? No matter what you're working on, no matter what you're trying to expand, no matter what you're doing, it's okay to take a break, to put things down and reprioritize. Recently, I've gone through, I feel like, a total upheaval of what my like online everything is. I've had to reestablish what is the thing that I actually love. Guess what? It's YouTube. That's what I really want to be doing full time. And I've been scattering my energy for months. And maybe this is you too. Maybe there's something that you really want to give your full attention to, but you continuously scatter your energy, and it's time to reevaluate. You need to rest, recharge, and renew before you can do that. So, Spirit is ultimately saying you need to sit in your own energy. You need to take some time out, sit in your own energy, take a day off. Shoot, take 3 if you can. Take some time off, give yourself some time, and just contemplate what your next move is. Because we also have the card of Thinker, number 44. Ooh, we love 44. And Between Worlds, number 3. So I love this because number 1, you're being asked to contemplate. Contemplate your reality, contemplate your next move, contemplate what you want moving forward. And this Between Worlds card, I like it because remember how you got this card that says some good shit is about to happen? When you get the Between Worlds card, everything is about to be in like screaming color. Like if you feel like you have been living life on autopilot, if you feel like the life you've been living isn't the one that you desperately really are seeking and wanting, all of that is about to change. And you can feel it already. You're already being given the signs. Even being here in this reading and listening, if it is resonating with you, that is already confirmation. And things are about to get so much better than you ever could have imagined. I really am getting that message from your guides. Things are about to get so much better than you ever could have imagined. And it's really important that you kind of tie up this loose end, allow yourself to expand, and just really get in your power. Because I'm going to tell you something else. Sometimes when you get the thing that you've been trying to manifest, the life you've been trying to receive for yourself, if you think it's going to make you into this all-powerful person that just has their shit together, it won't. And I know that from personal experience. It will not. You have to become that person before you can see that. I mean, not always. Sometimes the physical reality will change. But the thing that's hard about that is if you think you're going to be a certain kind of person when you receive it, that lifestyle that you want, that person, maybe it's a romantic partner, a certain kind of family, a certain kind of like even an item, a material item. Maybe you think you're going to be a certain kind of person when you have these things. But the thing is, you're not going to become that person unless you take your power back and become the person first. I promise you, it's so much more satisfying. Again, I know this from personal experience. And if you're new to my channel, I almost want to like reiterate it for you, but I know some of you have heard me say this like 1,000 times. But if you're new here, I'm going to reiterate it. Long story short, I live in a waterfront property. I am not super rich. I'm not somebody that has amazing credit. I literally would tell you that I don't want to say I came from nothing because I don't think that that's entirely true, but like nobody paid for my lifestyle. I did that. And I did it with like terrible credit, having a zero savings in my account. I live in one of the most beautiful homes I've ever lived in. And this was something that I wanted to manifest since I was like probably in my like early adolescence. And I always thought that I would have to be making like millions of dollars a year in order to live like this. And I thought I would be the kind of person that had like routine massages, routine facials. I would have so much money. I would be feeling so good in my skin every day. I thought all these things. I thought I would just be a certain kind of person when I lived at the waterfront. And once I got the keys to this house, I walked in, and even though I was so grateful to be where I am, I had this like horrible moment of just crying and sobbing because I realized that I was the same person. I was the same person with all the anxiety, with all the depression, with all the mental illness, with all of the like piss poor beliefs I had about myself. And it was in that moment that I realized I had to become that person, that having the home was not going to do it for me. And manifesting something so big off of my list and not changing a dang thing about myself, I was absolutely miserable. So, my point is, when you do this now, it's going to make your desires feel so much sweeter. Okay? So, I know this reading was a lot. I feel like I had a lot to say. Thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. I genuinely know that somebody out there needed to hear what I had to say. So, thank you for listening. I appreciate you. Please do not forget, when you stand on your own authenticity, you empower everyone around you to do the same. If you'd like to support me as a creator, please consider joining my Patreon. We have an event coming up on the 27th for people at the Cosmic Pumpkin tier and up, where I'm actually going to be reading for you in a private stream. So if you have like a question, I'm going to be reading your tarot cards in a stream. So definitely check it out. I don't know that I'm going to be able to get to every single person, but the streams usually are pretty intimate. So I expect I'll be able to get to most, if not all of you. So definitely check it out if you want to be part of that. There's also weekly energies where I go over astrology, your tarot cards, bibliomancy. It's a great time. I recently reformulated those, the weekly energies, and they are like super high quality now. And I genuinely think that they are so worth it. So check out my Patreon if you want to support me. If you would like to book me for a private reading, you can do so at KhloeTaylor.com. I have those available for you. I also have my course on KhloeTaylor.com. It's $12. It helps you to do parts work. All that work that I talked to you about in this reading is actually something that you can do with that course. It's a workbook plus a couple of audio meditations that help you, or audio segments that help you kind of work through. So if that's something that you feel like would help you, I would highly encourage you check it out. And I also have my Cashapp, Venmo, and PayPal listed down below for you, and my wish list if you'd like to send me a gift, or if you'd like to tip me. I do never expect it, but I always appreciate it. I also have my podcast available to you. It's called Divine Authenticity. There's new episodes every single Monday. And that is all linked down below for you, as well as my social medias. I'm at Kloee Taylor, spelled exactly as it is here, no spaces, on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. You can follow me everywhere around the web. And thank you so much for tuning in. I love you so much, and I will talk to you in the next one. Bye, pumpkin. All right, pile number 3. If you chose this 9 of Cups, which again is from the Tinseltown Tarot, let me bring it closer so you can really see it. It's beautiful. Love her. This is going to be your reading. And let me also show you your crystal up closer too once we put this back. That's the thing with picking up cards. I always feel like I mess up how beautiful and symmetrical I had them. Okay, let me also show you your crystal a little bit closer. This crystal is so pretty. I honestly wish I could get you a seller for this, because I did get it from somebody like literally in my small town. So I unfortunately can't share this one with you, but absolutely stunning. It's a beautiful piece of aura quartz. You can see all the little rainbows that it makes, and it's just so pretty. She currently has another one at her shop right now that I feel like I have to go back and buy, that's got like a pink tinge to it. So cute. Anyways, this is your pile if you chose those 2 things. So what your guides want you to know is that the hardship you've been going through is done. Like, you have the death card, which tells me that you have gone through a transformation. And maybe now you're left picking up like pieces of your life and it has felt really heavy and hard. But this reading is confirming that that's over. Like what you have gone through is done. You completed the cycle that you needed to complete, and things are actually about to get so much better. Especially if you're somebody that like wants recognition for something, or honestly even like fame for something. Maybe you want a creative project to take off. You're wanting like a business boom. Maybe you want more popularity. You want to be noticed for something. The reason I say that is because you do have the Six of Wands, and the Six of Wands is the card that tells me that you are going to be noticed. Some like one of the craziest experiences that ever happened to me the time that I drew the Six of Wands for myself was I was in San Francisco, and I will never forget this shit because it was the first time it had ever happened to me, the one and only time it had ever happened to me. And I was in San Francisco at a Whole Foods, and I pulled this card that morning. Like not this specific one, but I pulled a Six of Wands for my day that day. And this is like one of those moments that I was like, dang, I already believed in tarot cards, but I like really believe in that shit, which I already, like I said, I already did, but like it's funny how specific they can be sometimes. Um but I was in a Whole Foods and somebody stopped me and was like, "Oh my God, are you Kloee Taylor?" And I was like, "Yeah." It was my 30th birthday too. It was on my birthday. And they were like, "Oh my God, me and my mom watch your videos all the time. It's her birthday today too." And it was just like really special. I'd never been recognized on the street before. And I'm not one of those people that's like fame hungry. I'm really not. But it just like, not that there's anything wrong with that. If you want to be famous, I think that's fine. It's just not my thing. But like, it really is specific like that sometimes, the Six of Wands. So if you're somebody that's like putting yourself out there, or you want to gain popularity, or like maybe you've been doing something for a really long time, and this is like the moment where you're about to be noticed. Like the book deal is going through, your creative project is getting off the ground. And if you have been like hustling tirelessly, especially if this has been like years, okay? You are about to enter into this like flow state where everything is finally working out. And this reading is meant to confirm that to you. Also, I want to point out to you, I did change the candle for your reading because the one prior, uh, it wasn't like moving the fairies the way, like this is a little fairy carousel and the heat moves it. I'll link it down below, but I just want to point out to you that this like really just sped up, which like, yes, I changed the candle, but even when I first started the reading, the candle was not doing that. The fairies were not moving that fast. So this to me is just more confirmation that you are on like the fast track to, you've done what you've needed to do. You have been through the hardship. You have changed. And maybe even what you deal with now, like you might be one of those people that has gone through something difficult and like you wish you could go back. You wish you could like turn back time and be the person you used to be. But I have to tell you something. Your guides are telling me that that is not your path. You are not meant to revert back. You are actually, you've healed from something really serious and you've gone through the transformation. Like you are now entering this phase of your life where you are literally about to, like your whole life, like anything that you want is coming into fruition. You're finally at the point where your desires are coming. And I say that because the Knight of Swords is like swift forward momentum. The Six of Wands is that recognition. And then look at this Page of Wands. This man is literally sitting here like signing his autograph on things. This is why I said that if this has to do with fame for you, this is your sign that shit is about to get serious and it's about to speed up like tremendously. I honestly think that the reason the candle needed to be changed is because you needed to see that. Like the candle was literally burning fine for the first two readings, and then all of a sudden it like dwindled and these weren't moving and I had to change it. So it's kind of crazy actually. But these next few cards that I have for you, these ones are a little bit harsher. These are like the medicine that you need right now. Some of them are also funny, like they're not meant to be taken so seriously, but they're practical advice. They do curse. So if you're not into cursing or cussing rather, I really don't know why you're on my channel because I definitely cuss. But I'm just warning you ahead of time that these cards, if your children are in the room and you don't want the F-bomb dropped, just going to put it out there that this is coming. But the first card we have for you is Believe What You See. And it says, face reality or live in fucking la la land. Choose bravely. So, believe what you see. This to me tells me that whatever it is that you are after right now, whatever dream or wish fulfillment, the things that are coming into fruition for you, you need to get on board with your desires. You need to get so fucking crystal clear on what it is that you're wanting out of life for this next season, because you're going to get what you ask for. So you need to be clear about it and be intentional about it. We also have the card of U equals tight ass. And it says, loosen the fuck up, control freaks, don't get laid. What? Why would they say don't get laid? Ugh, I don't understand. What am I missing? Is there an inside joke here that I'm not getting? Why would you tell somebody not to do that? Interesting. Anyways, the point is though, when we think about somebody that's a tight ass, like they're uptight. They don't want to spend money. They don't want to, that to me is like the number one, is when I think of somebody being a tight ass, it's like, you just don't want to spend on anything. Like, stop being such a tight ass about it, And so this card to me is telling me that it's okay. It's okay to be a little frivolous with yourself. It's okay. Like, maybe you're one of those people that you don't really envision things for yourself that cost money, or like, oh, this is something I had to heal within myself. So I totally get it if this is you. Maybe you feel guilty for wanting luxury. And let me tell you something. Jupiter is in Taurus right now for the next year. Luxurious people, we're going to eat. We're going to eat because Taurus said. And Jupiter being in the sign of Taurus, Jupiter is an expander. It also blesses that sign. And Taurus is the sign of pleasure, of luxury, of living life through the senses. And that is what is being expanded, is like your pleasure. So that's for everyone too. Wherever Taurus is in your chart is being expanded upon. And so ultimately your guides are saying, like, it's okay. If you gain recognition, don't get me wrong, save some of those pennies for a rainy day, but recognize that any day could be a rainy day. Tomorrow could be that day. And you don't have to hold on to every little thing. Like, don't live in fear when you're receiving good things, when you're receiving abundance and bounty. And then we have get the fuck outside and move your ass. Your body is pissed at you. Whoa, that was dramatic. But ultimately, obviously, take this with a grain of salt. I'm not a physician or an exercise coach or a bodybuilder, but your guides are wanting you to know, if this is confirmation to you, if you feel like you've been feeling drawn to moving your body, this is confirmation that you need to answer that call and do that. If you're somebody that's already super active, that's okay. If you're somebody that is disabled, I myself am disabled and can't move like everybody else can. But like, recognize that, like, do what you can. If you've been feeling that pull, that's who this card is for. If you've been feeling it already, to answer that call to move your body a little bit more. Also, I feel like there is just something about going outside in general, like spending more time outside. If that gives you more peace, honor that. Try to make the outside spaces that you have more comfortable and able to hold you. Like right now, for example, I'm recognizing that we have serious mosquitoes where I live, because guess what? I live by the water, and that means that there are bugs, honey. And so I'm having to come up with creative solutions so that I can enjoy my outdoor space as the weather is welcoming for it, right? So this might be something also that you just need to get outside and make those spaces more available to you. And then we have, don't talk to anyone, don't look at anyone. You need some fucking alone time, and you know why. So this is like, put your head down, focus on your own goals, stop. Like, honestly, this is also the energy to me of like, You need to really take a look at your social circles. If they are not clapping when you are winning, it's time to move on. This is something that I am so adamant about. You have come to the right person for this smackdown, okay? Do not let yourself sit in friendship circles that do not clap when you win. In fact, I've got to tell you, it is so insanely important to be friends with people that when they hear somebody in their circle could use a service that you provide, you want that friend singing your praises even when you're not there. Those are the kind of people that you want in your inner circle. Not because everybody has to gain something from everybody, but you realize really fast who your friends are when, like, I've been in that situation. I've had friends keep opportunities from me because jealousy or whatever. But I've also had friends sing my praises and be given really amazing opportunities even when I'm not there. Does that make sense? Like, I feel like you're being asked to look at your friendship circles because your life is about to change. And you know what? It's a shitty fact. I'm so sorry. And I'm sorry if these are the friendships that you have right now. It sometimes happens where you make friends when you are in the era of your life where you're working on yourself and you're feeling really down and not like yourself. And those people are there for like your down arc. And then when you start to heal and transcend, oftentimes, not every time, there are people that can transcend with you, but oftentimes those people don't always want to see you heal. They don't always want to see you get better because you are someone that enables, and I'm hearing this from spirit, you are someone that enables them to make excuses for their bullshit. So if you're not willing to make excuses for your bullshit anymore and you want to get better, and they're not supporting you in that, it's time to move on. It's time to stop explaining to them why you're changing and just start changing and moving forward. And it's okay. Not every person is meant to be in your life at every single stage. It doesn't matter if you've been friends for 25 years. Literally, it doesn't matter. If you're out of sync and out of alignment and that friendship is not helping you anymore and it's hindering you, it's time to move on. And I really feel like this don't talk to anyone, don't look at anyone. This is really about putting your head down and letting yourself move forward, whether it is with people by your side or moving on from people that are not supporting the person you're becoming. All right, now we have a little bit of some gentler energy. We have you are the image maker, what you focus on manifests. So this is why I said you need to be very intentional about what you're creating and desiring right now, because I'm telling you, you're going to get what you ask for. And there are seasons of life where this doesn't happen. So this is like a thing that is happening right now. You need to be intentional about what it is that you want because you are going to get what you ask for. And you literally are the image maker. And I want to just remind you, just to like throw a little something extra in there. When you are trying to manifest something into your life, or a person, a thing, a living situation, don't forget about your feelings, okay? Because you know what? You can manifest a dream home or a dream person. And if you're still feeling all messed up on the inside, it's not going to feel good. It's not going to matter what you manifest because it won't change anything. But don't leave your feelings out of the mix. Remember that when you're manifesting these good things, when this stuff is changing, manifest peace, manifest ease, manifest the wisdom to keep the things that you're bringing into your life and the stamina to maintain it. Okay. These are things that I feel like people forget sometimes, because sometimes you manifest some really awesome shit and then it literally gets ripped out of your grasp because you don't have the stamina to maintain the thing that you've been given. And so ask for those things in advance. Be like, hey, I can see that this cool stuff is coming my way. It's being confirmed to me over and over again. I know it's going to happen. But with that, I need the strength to maintain. And I also need to know who's with me and who's not with me, right? Like the people. And I also want to feel calm in my body. I want to feel peace. I want this to feel easy, right? And don't get me wrong, I don't think that life is necessarily here to be easy, but I do think that when it's meant for you, it will feel easier. So we also have the card of Leader of the Light for you, which says, what are you being called to serve and where are you being called to serve and support others? And I feel like you're going to be in such a new situation. Like, I'm saying within like the next year, you're going to be in such a different, like, look, even this guy is like in a car going somewhere else. That's so crazy. You're going to be in such a different situation that you're going to want to serve people in a different way. And you might be one of those people that's like, dude, fuck serving other people. I've already done that and it didn't get me anywhere. I promise you, when you're actually living the life that you want to be living, you will not feel that way. I learned this from the podcast Aware and Aggravated. Leo Skeppy, I think is his name. He's so funny. I love his podcast. He is like the smackdown that I need sometimes. And he has an episode where he talks about voids that money cannot fill. And that is one of them. Is you can have every nice thing in the world. You can have all of your luxuries, your dream home, your quote unquote quiet life, whatever it is that you're after. But if you don't feel like you're contributing to the world in some way, that shit will leave you hollow. And sometimes you can't see that in the moment because you're not feeling full enough yet, that it's hard to imagine giving to others when you don't feel supported yourself. So I get that. But recognize that where you are evolving to, you are going to be leading other people in some regard. You will be serving people in some regard. And this is a good thing, even if you can't see it right now, because it is a void that money and luxury will never be able to fill. So, also, I feel like I say this every time I pull a card like this because I feel like I always get it for people that don't want to be leaders. It's always the people that come to me that are like, I don't want to lead. I'm not a leader. Yes, you are. If you are attracted to this reading and you keep getting it every time, yes, you are. And I feel like your spirit guides will fight you to the death on that because it comes up every time. And those of you that get this message over and over again on my channel, you know who you are. Okay, we also have Go the Distance. Every time I pull this card, I think about that Hercules song. I can go the distance. It's a great song. We have Go the Distance and we have Flexible. So you're entering a phase of your life right now where all this stuff is working out for you. You have what it takes to go the distance. You know that you do. But here's the thing. Remember not to get rigid. I know that that's hard, especially when you feel like something's really working for you. You want to like get rigid and make this whole life around this thing that's working for you. But just remember that the more flexibility you allow in the things that you do create and pursue and like manifest, the better and more richer they become. Because when you are stuck and set in a certain way and this is how it has to be, you start to what I like to call chokehold the universe. You say, this is how it has to be, and you will give it to me this way. And if you don't give it to me this way, I don't want it. And you miss all the magic of how wonderful things could be when you do that. So remember that even though all these awesome things are happening, remain flexible. Keep that flexibility about you. Allow yourself to try new things, to change. One of the greatest examples of this especially in the creative sphere, if you are someone that's a creative, like the best example I can give you, do not pigeonhole yourself. I tell every creative that comes my way this, do not pigeonhole yourself. I have done it multiple times in my career and I'm always dissatisfied. Pigeonholing yourself, for example, on YouTube, okay? I used to make all kinds of content on this channel. All kinds. I used to make witchcraft content. I used to make food content. I used to vlog. I used to do tarot card readings as well. And I published tarot card readings and they popped off. And that was what I became known for. And I don't create as much of the other content anymore because this is now what this channel is dedicated to. And I am happy. I've had to learn to find outlets for my other creative endeavors in other places. That's why I have my Patreon. It's why I have my podcast. So I think I've done it really well, but I'm just saying, allow yourself to remain flexible. If you have a video that pops off, it's not the way that it was 10 years ago in the online sphere. It's actually very normal to have a video pop off and then not to have a video pop off again for months. It's very normal. And I know that's one example like of YouTube, but I feel like it's the same in sales. You might have one t-shirt that you're selling just like go viral, but then like your other stuff doesn't really hit the same way. Or and that's okay. It's normal. The important thing is that you do not become a creative martyr. Martyr, I hate that word. Just like hard to say. Don't become a creative martyr. Do not live in martyrdom. Allow yourself to continue to go the distance and be flexible. The more flexible and less rigid you are, the further and further and further you can travel. Okay? So, that is what I have for your reading. This is what you needed to know today. And thank you so much for tuning in. Please do not forget, when you stand on your own authenticity, you empower everyone around you to do the same. If you'd like to support me more, please check out my Patreon. I have an event coming up on November. What? No, May 27th. I think I said November in another pile. I'm such a dork. Um, May 27th, I have an event coming up where I'm going to be reading your cards in a private stream. So if you come and you have a question, I'm going to be just reading people's tarot cards. It's at the Cosmic Pumpkin tier and up. Usually those meetings are pretty intimate, so I expect that I'm going to get to read for everyone. I'd just be surprised. I don't know. Like, usually we get maybe like 10 to 15 people at those events. So I expect it to be intimate. I expect to be able to read for everyone. If that is the turnout, I'm going to do as many as I can. But I'm really excited about that event. So please check it out. If not, and you would still like to book me for a private reading, you can on my website, KhloeTaylor.com. Those are always available to you, as well as astrology readings as well. Let me know down below, actually, pile number 3, I'm going to ask this like somewhere else too, but if you're currently going through a Saturn return and you would like Saturn return counsel, that's something I'm thinking about offering in like my astrology sector, because I love working with people through Saturn return stuff, especially because I've been through one already and it was such a crazy time in my life. I love counseling people on like what to do with your Saturn return. So let me know, give me like a Saturn emoji if that's interesting to you and you want to hear more. I also have my course, The Authentic Self. It's $12 on my website. It gives you a guide through meeting your authentic self, as well as a workbook to work through. I firmly believe in that content. I think it's excellent stuff to help you work through and meet your authentic self. So definitely check that out if you feel like that's something you need. If you'd like to support me more and you are able, I have my Cashapp, Venmo, PayPal, and my wish list available to you down below. Never an expectation, always appreciated. Oh, the birds had something to say about that. I don't know if you heard that, but bird right out my window. I also have my podcast available to you. It goes out every single Monday. It's called Divine Authenticity. We talk about everything under the sun. And I'm also available at Kloee Taylor on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, everywhere that I could be. I am Kloee Taylor. So just spelled exactly how it is spelled here. And I love you so much, Pumpkin. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will talk to you in the next one. Bye.